Hi guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel. So I am going to talk about book of the month. And if you have been around on my channel, you know that I am subscribed to book of the month because I talk about a lot of the book of the month picks that I have in all of my book hauls. I always start off with my book of the month picks, so I am subscribed to book of the month. So today what I wanted to talk about is just the things that I like and dislike about book of the month and whether or not I think book of the month is worth it. The reason why I decided to do this is because over on my Instagram, every month when it's time for us to pick book of the month picks, I always find it so hilarious when the discussions go around about whether or not we like the picks for that particular month. And that's when a lot of the people talk about whether or not they skipped, whether or not they like the picks, they dislike the picks, or whether or not they like book of the month in general, or whether or not they hate book of the month. And I just think those conversations are hilarious, and I just wanted to talk about it. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna start off with what book of the month is, in case you don't know, and how it works, because there are a few people who don't know. So I'll just start off with that, and then I'll talk about my likes and my dislikes of book of the month. And then I also wanted to talk about some of the books that I actually liked and I have disliked. So the books that I'm specifically going to actually talk about are my 5-star books that I have rated, and then my DNFs, and then my 1-star reads. Anything in between, I'm just going to tell you guys how many books I rated within those star ratings, and then probably insert some sort of like picture or something, but I'm not going to go through because I've read a lot of book of the month books. I'm not going to go through each one of those. Unless at some point you guys want me to do that, let me know. But otherwise, we're not going to do that here. In the 5-star books that I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to go into like a synopsis or anything like that, because at some point I've already talked about these books. But I'm just going to tell you just real quick what I liked about them and why I rated them a 5 stars. Or what I hated about them and why I like DNF'd them or gave them a 1 star. So that's what we're going to do. So what I really just wanted to focus on in this video is like what book of the month is, and then my likes and my dislikes of book of the month, so that at the very end, I can then tell you whether or not I think book of the month is worth it. So we will go ahead and get started. So starting off, what is book of the month and how does it work? So Book of the Month is a book subscription service. So it's not as fancy as like, I don't know, Illumicrate or Fairy Loot or Owl Crate, where you get those really fancy like hardcovers, like something like this up here, where that Jade City, that's where I got that from. Illumicrate, it's not like that. You just get a lot of like adult hardcovers for a cheaper price. And how it works is you sign up. I think if you sign up for the very first time, your very first box is like $10.99. That's how they get you. So your first box is like $10.99, but every subscription after that, every month you pay like $15.99. They have different levels of subscriptions, which I haven't like looked into, but the subscription that I have is $15.99 a month. And then every month at the beginning of the month, you have either 5 to 7 picks. Since I have been a subscriber of Book of the Month, they have now added like 2 additional books. So it used to be just 5 picks per month, but every once in a while they would do 7 picks a month. So that's the thing they just started within the last couple of months. And so let's say this last month, so the month of May, I can't remember how many picks we had, but you get 5 picks, you pick one. You can get up to 2 additional add-ons. Each of those add-ons will be $9.99. So you get 1 pick, and then you get 2 additional add-ons of your choice if you would like. So that's the basis of how it typically works every month. So after you have been subscribed for a year, you are then considered a Book of the Month BFF. So a Book of the Month best friend forever. And so you then get a free blue Book of the Month tote. So just like a little tote bag. And then after that, you can then start to get 1 free credit every time your birthday month rolls around. So my birthday month is in June. So in June, I will get 1 additional credit. So I will get my June credit, I can get my 2 additional add-ons, and then I get my 1 free credit, so I can get up to 4 books in the month of June. Yay me. So that's that. So now they also have this thing which they just started, I want to say at the beginning of the year, that instead of using your credit on a book, they also have the option of you can now use your book credit on audiobooks. So if you don't have audiobook service anywhere else, you can now use audiobooks through Book of the Month. I have not looked into that because I would never use audiobooks through Book of the Month because I get them free through the library. So I'm not going to use my credit on an audiobook. But if you would like to do that, you now have the option to do that. So you can use your credit on either a physical book or an audiobook. Also to note, when you become a member for a year, I'm pretty sure this doesn't happen until you become a member for a year, is that at the end of the year when they do like their Book of the Month awards, I don't remember the actual name of those, but when they do their Book of the Month awards and you can pick like whichever books are in like the finalist, they give you 1 additional credit to choose one of those books that are in like the finalist category. And so I think this happened like in the month of December where you get like that additional credit. So in the month of December, you could get up to 4 picks because you have your December credit, your 2 add-ons, and then that Book of the Month finalist credit. So there's another way for you to get another credit. You can also get extra credits if you refer people, and everybody gets like Book of the Month referral links. And so if you send out your referral link, and I think people actually have to use that link, then you get extra book credits that way as well. A thing to note with Book of the Month is that they do not ship internationally. I'm pretty sure that Book of the Month has been around for a very long time. I don't really understand why at this point they do not ship internationally, but that is still a thing. They do not ship internationally. And another thing to note is that if you do not like a book for that particular month, so the next month that comes up in June, if you do not like any of those picks in the month of June, you are able to skip that month and your credit will roll over to that next month and you can then use that credit. So that is essentially how Book of the Month works in a nutshell. So moving on to the things that I like about Book of the Month is that I like the free credit that you get in your birthday month, because I like any time that I can get a free credit. So I like that free credit in your birthday month. I like that free credit at the end of the year when they're doing like their Book of the Month finalist thing and you get your free credit. They also do this thing where you are doing a reading challenge. And so in those reading challenges, they have like a certain number of books. It's like 3 different reading challenges, and I'm pretty sure they're the same for everybody. So there's like a category to where you read like 1 really long book, and then a category where you have to read like a certain number of debut authors, and then a category to where you just have to read a certain number of books. And then once you complete all of those challenges, and then I think there's like a bonus challenge that you have to complete. And then once you complete all of that within that year, then you get to choose a free gift from their like little gift shop that they also have where you can purchase things. You get to choose one of those items for free. And in their gift shop, it's just things like candles, like socks, like notepads. I think they have like a water bottle in there. They have like little like pins you can stick on like bags or like your clothes, just like little knickknacks that you can purchase, but they're there, it's free. I like anything that's free, and I like to complete any challenge that I have, so I like doing that. But that's also something that they offer. Now, if you are a member for over a year, I believe anything that is in that like gift shop that they have, you get a certain percentage off, I'm pretty sure. So that's also another thing that I like that Book of the Month does. I also like the fact that you are allowed to skip months. You are not forced to pick something just to pick it. So since I've been a member, I think this is over 2 years at this point. I probably have only skipped twice. So I like that you have the option to skip. And then I also like the fact that you can do the add-ons for only $10, because if you think about it, getting brand new hardbacks are freaking expensive. A brand new adult hardback, what are those? Like $27 a piece, 28, depending, you know, where you're getting them from. And so just getting them for $10, you can't beat that. So I like that they're giving you 2 additional add-ons for only $10. And then I like that for the add-ons, you could still go back and choose the actual picks, because for book of the month, they give you a certain picks for like book that are considered the book of the month picks. And then they also give you new add-ons, but you don't have to actually get the add-ons as your add-on. You can go back in and actually choose the book of the month picks as your add-on. So I like that you have the opportunity to do that. So you don't have to actually choose the add-ons as your add-ons. You can actually choose the book of the month picks as your add-ons, if that makes sense. I also like that they started doing the 7 picks instead of 5 picks for some months. I like the fact that they do try to have a lot of diverse reads. I have not seen that anybody has complained about the lack of diversity with book of the month. If there is conversation around that, I have not seen it. I have not felt that there has been lack of diversity. I feel like they do a good job of trying to make sure that there is diversity within the author that they're choosing. And I feel like since I have been with book of the month, their authors, have been pretty much new to me. I've been trying to pick authors that I have never heard of before, and I've been introduced to a lot of new authors. So that is something that I really like with book of the month. Moving over to some things that I do not like about book of the month. One of the big things that I do not care for with book of the month, and this is something that I see a lot, and I will try to find some comments and have them displayed at the bottom if I remember to do that. And it's funny to me because this happens every month, but they do not release the picks at the same time every month. Technically, they should be releasing like new picks at the beginning of the month. So at the first day of the month is when they probably should release the new picks. But they don't do that every month. Some months they do it like on the 30th or the 31st or the 28th or the 29th. It's very random. They're not consistent on when they will have the new picks out. And it's infuriating to some people, even to me sometimes, because you get kind of antsy, you get excited because you're ready to pick the new picks, especially because if you've already read your books. Now, listen, I'm behind. I'm like, I don't know why I get so anxious to pick books, and I'm like 25 books behind, but I'm ready to pick the books. And, you know, people get so angry and upset because they're ready to pick their books. And they know that sometimes the books are released early, but then other people say that, well, you guys know that they come out on the 1st. Well, yeah, technically they should come out on the 1st, but they don't. Sometimes they come out early. So we don't never know when to expect them. So I think that they could be a little bit more consistent on when they're going to drop the picks. Technically, yes, you can make the argument where you could just be like, well, just go and open up the app on the 1st and you will see the picks at the same time every month. Yes, I know that I could do that, but I know that sometimes they release them early. So if you just release them at the same time every month, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I think they could just be consistent on when they drop the picks. But I think some people's comments on this, because they comment on Book of the Month's Instagram account on this every month, the comments are so hilarious to me. But I do think that they can be consistent because they consistently take out the money for our subscriptions at the same time, the 25th on every month. I think that they can be consistent on when they drop these picks at the same time every month. I'm just saying. I do wish that they had like special editions of books, or they did something a little bit more than what they do. They don't really have anything special going on with these books. I understand that the prices are cheaper because, you know, we're getting hardbacks, adult hardbacks for cheap. In some cases, you know, young adults cheaper than what they are. But I do wish, you know, sometimes we got a little sprayed edge, something on the naked hardcover than their little stamp. But sometimes you just want a little something, something. I think every once in a while the covers might be slightly different, maybe, but I think every once in a while we could do a little something different book of the month. Like, y'all could spruce something up, y'all can give us a little something. I also wish that you didn't have to pick a book of the month pick in order to get an add-on. Okay, so remember how I said you get a book of you get a book of the month pick and then you get 2 add-ons. Well, in order to get like their add-ons, the books that are actually considered an add-on, you have to get a book of the month pick. Like, you can't skip the book of the month picks in order to get an add-on. You have to get the book of the month pick in order to get the books that are considered the add-on. And I don't like that. I wish you can like skip those sometimes and get their add-ons, because sometimes their add-ons are more interesting than their actual book of the month picks. And sometimes like their add-ons are the hyped books and not their book of the month picks. I think it was last year when Babel was out. Now, I'd already had my edition of Babel, so this didn't apply to me, but Babel was a hyped book, but it was considered an add-on and not a book of the month pick, I believe. And so in order to get Babel, you had to pick one of the book of the month picks in order to then add on Babel. So I wish that they didn't do that. I guess I understand why they do that, but I wish there was like a way around that. If there is a way around that, somebody let me know because I haven't figured that out. And I would like to, because sometimes I don't want a book of the month pick. I want the add-on. Or I was thinking about this, and maybe they could like give you like a free pass or something. So like for just this one time, like you click a button or something to be like, I skip my book of the month pick and just go straight to like the add-ons. But like once you do that, you can't do that anymore for like 6 months or something. You know what I mean? Like you just like bypass that and then they won't allow you to do it anymore. Something like that. I don't know. But sometimes the add-ons are a little different. So those are some of the things that I just find really frustrating. I'm sure there are others, but those are just the ones that come straight to my mind when I think the things that I just really cannot stand with book of the month. So I did want to go ahead and just mention how they choose their selections for the book of the month, because I always just wondered about that and I just thought that was kind of interesting. So they have an editorial team that they use, and then they have a book committee, and that book committee they just use as regular people, so people who are subscribed to book of the month. And how you can be a part of this committee is if you've received at least 6 boxes, you can just email them and let them know that they're interested, and then I guess they just tell you whether or not you could be a part of this committee. And then they have a group of judges, and those judges are other authors, book bloggers, and then journalists. And so all of these people, I guess, come together and then they determine whether or not certain authors can be used as book of the month selections. And so a lot of these authors are either repeat authors, debut authors, and then some of the books that are used as book of the month selections, they are early releases. So if they're released like in the middle of the month or the end of the month, by the time we pick them, we're picking them in the beginning of the month. So we're picking them, you know, a couple of weeks early. So obviously they're considered an early release. So that's how they do like the selection process. I'm not sure if that is still how they do their selection process. That's just what I found here recently on the internet, but I thought that was pretty interesting, especially how they do like the book committee and how easy that would be just to be considered a part of the book committee. But that is how I found out they did the selection process, at least at one point in time. Now I want to go ahead and talk about some of the books that I have already rated from book of the month. Now, like I said before at the beginning, I am not going to talk about every single book that I have rated because it is a lot, but I will go ahead and mention some of them. So for my ratings from 2 to 4 stars, I will just leave like an image of these books because like I said, I am not gonna go through those. For my 2-star ratings, I have only rated 3 books a 2 stars. I have rated 18 books a 3 stars. And then I have rated 13 books a 4 stars. And then so far, there was only 1 book that I have not rated from Book of the Month. And I had picked this book up on a whim. It's called Vladimir. And I don't remember the author, but I'll leave an image right here. I picked it up on a whim. It was during one of those months where I didn't know what to pick, so I just picked this one. But then after I got it, I had not heard really good reviews about it, so I ended up unhauling this one. And then I rated it through the app as did not rate, or something like that. I think it's considered did not rate. And so, yeah, I just decided I wasn't even gonna try it. I think I read like a page in like the writing. I was like, nope, I'm good on this one. So yeah, I ended up unhauling this one. So then for my DNFs, the first one that I DNF'd from Book of the Month, and this was one of my most anticipated reads, and I've talked about this one several times on my channel, and I DNF'd it last year. It's one of my most anticipated reads, and I was surprised that it was actually a Book of the Month. And when I was looking up books for this video, it's actually sold out right now on Book of the Month, and that is Book of Night by Holly Black. And yeah, I did not like this. This is a adult fantasy, and I did not like it. I think I only got like 60 pages into it. It is not what I was expecting going into this. I was very bored. I did not like the magic system in this. Well, I can't even say I didn't like the magic system. I didn't understand the magic system. This just did not work for me. So yeah, I DNF'd it. And I was very sad that I had to DNF this one because I just thought that this was going to be something that I was going to fall in love with, and it was not for me. So I DNF'd that one. So the other DNF that I have, I actually still have a copy, and I just DNF'd this one this year. It's one of my first DNFs this year, and that is Severance by Ling Ma. So this is a adult science fiction. Well, it's a more of adult dystopian, and this one again just didn't work for me. I did not like the writing style. I was not connecting with this one. For the most part, I just thought it was really boring, and a lot of people seem to like this one, but it just was not connecting with me, so I just had to put this one down. So moving on to my 1 star, I was actually surprised with this because I thought I had rated more things a 1 star, but I also remembered my rule. I don't really rate a lot of things 1 star because by the time I think I'm gonna rate something a 1 star, I probably would have already DNF'd it. And so if I'm rating something a 1 star, I'm probably only trying to finish it for a video or something. And so this book has come as no surprise because I've already done a video on this one, and I will link every book that I'm actually talking about at this point. I will have videos linked for these, but like I said, I just did a video on this. This is The Writing Retreat by Andrea Bartz. This is supposed to be a adult thriller. And like I said, this is a 1 star. I hated this. I didn't necessarily say I hated this in that video, I don't think, but I'm gonna say it here. I hated this. This was terrible. This didn't get, I guess, thrilling until the end. This was just not what I thought this was going to be. This was all over the place. I think there was a really good story somewhere in there. It just did not come out. And I think it tried to do something, like I said, at the very end, but this was not it. I did not like this at all. This deserved that 1 star, and that's it. That's all I gotta say. I did not like this. So every other book that I'm gonna talk about are all of my 5 stars that I have read from Book of the Month. So the first one that I have is All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. This is another adult thriller, and I really enjoyed this one. It almost didn't get a 5-star from me because this one took a little bit for me to get into, but boy, once I got into this one, I could not put this one down. It really had me questioning what the heck was going on. I thought I knew where certain parts of this book was going. By the end, I really just stopped trying to figure it out and just went with the flow. And I just really liked where the story went, and I just really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it. So this was a second book that I read from this author. The first one was A Flicker in the Dark. Yeah, A Flicker in the Dark, which I also really enjoyed. And I actually reviewed both of those books in a video. Again, I will have that link down below. So then this one is The Hacienda by Isabel Sienes. So this is a adult horror novel, and I really enjoyed this one as well. I thought this was a really good haunted house story, and I'm still dipping my toes into horror. If I wanted a haunted house story, this is what I would want. A lot of people compare this to Mexican Gothic. I enjoyed Mexican Gothic, but I enjoyed this story over Mexican Gothic. They also compare this to the story Rebecca. I have not read Rebecca. Some people who have read Rebecca said that Rebecca is a better version of this, but I really enjoyed this one. This author is actually coming out with another book at the end of the summer, beginning of fall, something about vampires. I don't remember the title. I hope Book of the Month will have it. Who knows? I really enjoyed it. It is like a slow burn, but I just loved how creepy it was. I love the slow burn of it. I love the story behind everything that was happening in this. There is a little bit of a romance in here. Listen, I'm going to say I highly recommend to all these, but I highly recommend. Next, I have Will by Will Smith, his memoir. I really enjoyed it. I did not listen to the audiobook, so I read this physically. A lot of people who have read this and listened to the audiobook say that they would recommend the audiobook. So if you are somebody that is interested in Book of the Month and you want to check out their, I guess, I don't know, like their audiobook credit, maybe you should use your credit on this audiobook, I guess. But I really enjoyed this. I liked getting some insight into Will Smith. Even though some of the stuff that he was talking about I already knew, but a lot of it I did not know. But I still really enjoyed this. The next one that I have is Razor Blade Tears by S.A. Cosby. And this is a adult thriller. And this is one of my all-time favorite books. This is one of my all-time favorite authors. I have read 3 of his books at this point. I have another 2 of his books that I need to read. And I am anticipating his book that is coming out in June. I wonder if Book of the Month will get that one as well. This is my second book that I ever got from Book of the Month. And this is one of the books that I had never heard of S.A. Cosby. And I just picked this up purely based off of the synopsis. No one had ever said anything about this book, but when I picked it up, I had not heard anybody say anything about this book. So this was just purely based off of, this just sounds good. And I had mentioned this before that I really want to get back to just getting books off of reading the synopsis and not based off of hearing other people's thoughts first and being influenced by what other people think first, you know, and just picking up stuff on a whim, because this turned out so great for me. And I just really love this. I loved the 2 characters, the 2 main characters in here. I just felt for them and them trying to get justice for their sons. This was everything. I have a dedicated review to this. I will also have that link down below, like I said. But I really love this. I highly recommend this. I talk about this all the time. Out of all the books that I have read by S.A. Cosby, this is still my favorite. Book of the Month knew what they were doing when they picked this one. And then the last one that I have is This Time Next Year by Sophie Cousins. And this is a adult romance. I picked this one up on a whim. This is the one that I picked with that extra credit that I had this past December. This is the first time that I had the extra credit from like their Book of the Month finalist awards thing that they did. And I'm really happy that I picked this one up. I adored this. If I am not mistaken, I believe this is actually getting picked up for a movie or some sort of series or something. But I freaking love this. I loved how the story is told, from like flashback scenes to the present timeline. I love the two characters. I just loved like their slow burn romance. Friends, oh gosh, I just loved the story. And when I had posted that I was going to be reading this, people told me that I was going to love this, and they were not wrong. So if you have not checked this book out and you are a romance reader, I would highly suggest this. Again, this is one of the ones I've talked about several times on my channel, so I would link one of the videos down below. But I highly recommend this. This is so sweet. I tabbed this, well, you can't really tell, but I like tabbed this one all up because I love this one. So those are all of the 5-star books that I have so far from Book of the Month. So with all of that being said, with how it works, my likes, my dislikes, my 5-star books, my 1 stars, my DNFs, the one that I did not rate, is Book of the Month worth it? Yes, for me, it is worth it. I like Book of the Month. It is affordable for me. I have purchased, books from other subscription services. I say that like I do that all the time. I don't. The only other subscription service that I have purchased something from was Crate, and that is like my Greenbow Saga series and a couple of other books from them. But Book of the Month just seems to work for me. I just like being introduced to new authors, debut authors, and I like seeing the little blue box outside my door once a month. So, I like it. Is every month a win from them? No. But, I mean, you can't win them all. But I do like them. I'm going to stay subscribed to them unless for some crazy reason, like, their picks just go wild and there's like a string of months that I just do not like. But you just have the option to continue to skip until you find something that you like, and that is something that I like. I like the fact that I can skip. When you skip, you're not charged. So I just like that option. I do think that Book of the Month is worth it, and I will continue to stay with them, and I will continue to update you guys on the books that I get from Book of the Month. So if you guys have Book of the Month, or you had Book of the Month, please let me know down in the comments what you like or disliked about them, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.